We have another exciting day for Tesla stock investors. Lots of breaking news to get into, and we just seen the biggest drop in wholesale inflation since April of 2020. It looks like the soft landing is well on its way to becoming a reality. And that's a big reason why Tesla stock is trading higher by about 3% today. We're going to take a look at the charts. Today, you're really at a very important level. Based on where Tesla stock is at currently, well, it looks like you're probably going higher here in the short term. Now, what are the options telling us about hedge fund and institutional positioning? We're going to get into all of that and much more here in this video. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Those things are free 99. It costs you nothing to do it. Helps push this video out to as many people as possible. If you feel like other people should hear this information, that is the easiest thing you can do to make sure as many people as possible get this information. Now, the second thing I want to say is congratulations to everyone that is a part of the trading community. Link down below in the description of the video. We just hit a 700+% trade on target earnings this morning and over 100% on the PayPal trade so far that we made yesterday. So congratulations to you guys. I know a lot of you did hit that one right on the head. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Tesla is apparently revoking Cybertruck delivery event invites for people that shared this video. I'm not going anyways, so I'll go ahead and show you. It looks pretty dang impressive all around. This TikTok says, would you buy a $50,000 Cybertruck? And we obviously still don't know the pricing, but $50,000 for this? Oh my gosh, what a seller this thing is going to be. And look at that interior. The ambient lighting is off the charts, in my opinion. That really sets this thing apart from, you know, a lot of different vehicles out on the roads today, but especially this in-dash, this look at that. This artificial, image of the Cybertruck, generative AI, maybe I should say, of the Cybertruck just looks so freaking cool. I'm like a huge fan of the image here of the Cybertruck on the main display. But let's go ahead and run it even some more. It says, now entering a new class of strength, speed, versatility, only possible with an all-electric design. And we're going to get a look here of the back here in just a second. The only thing that I find a little strange is it doesn't look like there's a lot of room for the back. Maybe the seats, it looks like they're pushed back quite a bit, but it just doesn't look like there is that much room. It looks like there's a little screen right here. If I do say so myself, almost looks like a camera or something, but definitely a screen of some sort. This says the powerful drivetrain and low center of gravity provides extraordinarily traction control and torque. We continue on. That's obviously how you open the tailgate there, the back hatch. It says enabling acceleration from 0 to 60 miles per hour in as little as 2.9 seconds and up to 500 miles of range. Keep in mind, we don't have clarity on any of these details. Just by the way this guy is kind of interacting with the Cybertruck, odds are he probably works for Tesla, and this video was probably sent to a buddy or a pal or something, then got leaked somehow to TikTok. I'm not sure exactly when this was posted, but it does say here that this individual is expecting the first 70 Cybertrucks will be hitting the streets this month. If we launch on November 30th, that means the next day you could see 70 Cybertruck deliveries. I don't know about you guys, but that's pretty impressive for the day after the event, in my personal opinion. So let me know what your opinions are on this video, on the Cybertruck, getting a closer look at this product. Down below in the comment section of this video, what do you think the pricing is also going to look like on the Cybertruck? Is it going to be 50,000? Is it going to be more than that? Is it going to be less? Let me know what you think on that. Also, that 500-mile range figure that we just seen, or presumably the Cybertruck is going to have, what is the actual towing range? I think that is a lot more important for potential truck buyers. If you have a boat attached, do you only get 250 miles of range, 200 miles of range? That's one of the biggest gripes people have with the Lightning, right? The F-150 Lightning, is because you just don't get much range if you're hauling a boat or something. It just doesn't make sense compared to a gas-powered truck. That, I think, is a big question I personally have when we actually do get the delivery event in about 2 weeks from now. Quote, Tesla's uniform policy advances a legitimate employer's interest and neither discriminates against union communication nor impacts the worker's time away from the job, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit said today. Anything to keep the unions away right now is going to be seen as bullish for Tesla stock. General Motors Cruise driverless car unit said on Tuesday it will pause all supervised and manual car trips in the US and expand the scope of investigations at the robotaxi operator in the aftermath of an accident that initially led to the suspension of driverless vehicle operations. Tesla North America put out on their X account this post that says over 5 years, the total cost of ownership for a Model 3 or Model Y rear-wheel drive versus comparable gas vehicles drops to less than $26,000. Martin Visha, head of investor relations at Tesla, says invites are out. Check your spam inbox, everyone. If you did get an invite, please do consider inviting a fellow Tesla community member to the event as your +1. See you in 2 weeks. Tesla Economics on X shares this post that SpaceX is discussing spinning off Starlink via IPO as soon as 2024. According to Bloomberg, Elon Musk comments and says, false. It seems like they will spread any and all narratives they can, whether the information is right or wrong. GM has purchased Tesla supplier TEI. TEI helped Tesla push the frontiers of gigacasting. With TEI gone, Tesla is reportedly leaning more heavily on 3 other casting specialists it has used in Britain, Germany, and Japan. Volkswagen has not made a decision on producing a $20,000 electric car yet, but CEO Bloom is convinced that the company can get there by the second half of the decade. UAW members at General Motors appear very close to voting down a tentative union deal that ended roughly 6 weeks of labor strikes against the automaker. The U.S. Department of Energy announced today up to $3.5 billion from the infrastructure law will be spent to boost domestic production of advanced batteries and battery materials nationwide. Real KP on X says this: they are trying hard to give free cash away for GM and Ford, but they have to give it to everyone by law. And it certainly does seem like, well, they're definitely playing favoritism here, trying to catch up GM, Ford, even Stellantis to a lesser extent, to be able to compete with Tesla, when in all reality, when you're losing $30,000+ on every EV that you are making, well, $3.5 billion is not going to help anything when it's going for battery materials, in which a lithium mine takes 4 to 7 years to start even producing lithium. There's so many problems with legacy OEMs and the transition into EV vehicles, it's ridiculous. But there does seem to be some degree of favoritism from Ford and GM with the current administration. But unfortunately for that, they have to essentially help Tesla at the same time. Here are Tesla Model Y sales worldwide by month and by region. And North America at 306,000, Asia Pacific at 374,000, Europe at 207,000, and the Middle East at 14,000. 16,000. Luxembourg reported 171 Tesla sales and 4.1% market share for October. Tesla is the 7th best-selling brand, the 5th best ever month, -6% versus last month, the best first month of the quarter ever, and 14% over the previous one. Year to date, this is higher by 149% over this same period last year. Now, we actually made a video incorporating this clip from Tony Saganaki on Tesla stock just yesterday. I recommend you guys check that out. That is the video with Kathy Woods in the thumbnail. He says, quote, "The big question for me for next year is, do they have to cut their growth targets? Might they only grow at 10%? I think it's certainly possible in 2024 and 2025. They're not going to have new models. It is really a car company." Yeah, I totally forgot about the Cybertruck apparently. But Gary Black is firing back and says Tony is wrong and has been wrong on Tesla. The halo effect from the Cybertruck and the Model 3 Highland is reminiscent of 2020 and 2021 when Tesla volume soared 87% on the heels of interest sparked by the Model Y introduction. Add to that the $7,500 off invoice IRA tax credit combined with falling interest rates, and we are looking at full year 2024 year-over-year volume growth of 40%. The National Transportation Safety Board is calling on automakers to install anti-speeding technology in all new cars and trucks following a multi-vehicle crash that happened last year. Notice how it says they are calling on automakers to do this. I don't think it's a law necessarily. At least I can't find anything about a law. So probably just encouraging them to take steps to reduce speeding. October PPI came in lower than expected across the board. Month over month came in at -0.5%. The estimate was around 0.1%. So that was the lowest reading you have seen since April of 2020, over 3 years ago. Month over month core came in at 0.0% versus the estimate of 0.3%. So across the board, very strong. Year over year came in at 1.3%. The estimate was 1.9%. And year over year core came in at 2.4% versus the estimate of 2.7%. You really can't complain with this at all. Specifically, PPI excluding food and energy month over month came in at 0%. You were expecting, again, 0.3%. So even excluding volatile sectors like food and energy, you still came in at 0% and crushed the estimates. PPI is producer price index. I like to call it producer price inflation. CPI is consumer price index or consumer price inflation. So how things tend to work in the business world is companies tend to get higher costs to produce things and sell their product, right? And then they pass that cost on to consumers. So PPI tends to lead into CPI. CPI does not tend to lead into PPI. So this is really, really good news. It's more forward-looking because if producers are actually seeing their costs declining, well, it's very unlikely they are going to be raising prices in mass that will affect CPI down the line. Now, retail sales, that's a tricky one. Retail sales were expected at -0.3%, but just yesterday, the estimate changed to 0.3% negative. The day before that, so on Monday, the estimate was -0.1%. That's the number we got today. -0.1%. So this was actually really good number, right? The economy is not deteriorating and inflation is cratering. That's your soft landing narrative brought to you on a silver platter. Now, this could be a contrarian indicator to support markets going higher from here. If you look at the SPY and the current retail leveraged open bull/bear positions, on the SPY, 61% of investors are bearish and 39% are bullish. We've had a great last 2 days or so, right? 3 days or so. last 2 weeks, really, but the Russell itself has done fantastic over the last 2 or 3 trading days. Well, there's a lot of people that are still bearish. Now, I won't be bearish until we get closer to a recession. It doesn't look like, at least to me, that is right around the corner. We just got our GDP report. So at the bare minimum, it's going to be 3 months before we know if GDP was negative at all. And if it wasn't negative, it's going to be another 3 months after that. You're talking 6 months from now before we could get our first negative GDP print. So being short in this market, being positioned for downside in this market doesn't make sense. The only thing that makes sense is to be long in companies that will benefit from rates going lower, which a recession will do. Really, right now, we'll look at it here in just a second. Markets are pricing potentially the first rate cut by as soon as March, which is a lot better than where we were just 2 weeks ago when we were expecting the first rate cut in June, July-ish. From now until that recession actually comes and we get more clear data that that's actually happening, I think this is actually very bullish that so many people are still bearish on our markets. They will flip, and odds are when they flip, it's going to be at the worst possible time, right before the markets actually do come down. Retail sales today is really the first data report that suggests the economy might be slowing faster than what we expected. Now, the expectation for retail sales was negative 0.3%. 2 days ago, the estimate was negative 0.1%. The report we got today was negative 0.1%. So if this data report had came out before the CPI report, we would have came in right on expectations. It was not as bad as feared, but in this market, being better than expectations as far as the economy is not necessarily seen as a good thing for stocks. Now, last month's retail sales number got revised upwards from 0.7% to 0.9%. So it looks like 2 months ago, retail sales were a lot stronger than what people were expecting. This is causing 10-year Treasury yields to rise about 11 basis points today, now sitting at 4.54%. Some of this could be due to the retail sales number not coming in as weak as expectations, although it was still a negative number. We were expecting that number to be a little bit more negative, but you could also make the argument that yields have just fallen so much recently. To see a big bounce back and yields going higher today is not exactly shocking. Fed futures are currently pricing in a 100% chance of a hold at the next Fed meeting, December 13th, a 100% chance of a hold on January 31st, 2024. For March 20th of 2024, investors are pricing a 25% chance of a rate cut and a 76% chance of a hold. And then for May, you're firmly pricing in your first rate reduction or your first rate cut. With a probability of 56.5%, there's a 28.5% chance the Fed continues to hold, and there is a 15% chance that we actually get 2 rate cuts by May 1st. This is good news for Tesla. Tesla's global inventory numbers look pretty much unchanged from the last time we looked at this chart. Model 3 numbers staying slightly under normal levels that we have seen over the past year, or really for 2023. Model X and Model S, while the Model X is a little bit higher than trend over the past 12 months, the Model S is definitely above trend over the last 12 months, and the Model Y is roughly in line with what you would expect over the past 12 months, so not really getting any clear signs of good demand nor bad demand. But judging off of the price increases that we have seen for the Model 3 and the Model Y over the past 2 weeks, although it's like $700 for each model, that's a sign that you're probably seeing good demand. Tesla's Google Trends activity for the Model 3 and the Model Y, as well as the Cybertruck, remain above trend as well, especially the Cybertruck continuing to remain above trend, likely because the delivery event is November 30th. And then we'll see what kind of effect that does have to the entire Tesla franchise. I do firmly expect a halo effect and to see the Model 3 and the Model Y benefit greatly from the Cybertruck's introduction. But it might take some time for a lot of Cybertrucks to be out there on the road to actually get that halo effect to kick in the way that we expect it will. Tesla continues to advertise about 300 different ads, a vast majority of these being for the United States, a smaller portion being for Europe, and an even smaller portion of those being for Australia. A lot of those, they are the power and energy systems, right? Like a Powerwall or Megapacks that are really being advertised for Australia. The percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average is sitting at 62%. Your highs back in July were at about 77%. So there is still some ways to go to the upside, but this is much better than what you've seen back in October, where only 15% of stocks were above their 50-day moving average. Option activity for Tesla stock today is pretty interesting. You've seen 1,180 orders totaling $1.36 billion with a positive order value of 34%. This could be due to people selling calls. That wouldn't surprise me at this point, given how much Tesla has actually increased, and that might explain why the stock is up 2.5%, but you only have a positive order value of 34%. Now, today is going to be a big day for Tesla options. Once we release that video around 9 p.m. tonight, you're going to see there's probably going to be around 3 billion of option flows into Tesla stock today. That's because the last hour or so will tend to give you the vast majority of your option buying pressure for any given day. So that video later tonight will be very important. As we went over in the last video, short sellers are getting absolutely smacked in the face. The dollar amount currently sold short sits at $18.78 billion. And just within the course of the last really 4 days now, short sellers have lost over $3 billion, around $3.2 billion. That's a lot of money for the last 4 days or so to lose if you are a short seller. Currently, it's estimated about 79 million shares are currently sold short in Tesla stock, representing 2.91% of the total shares that are outstanding. TLT is down about 1.5%. Oil is down 1.6%. The dollar is up a third of 1%. What you really seen yesterday was the dollar dropping about 1.5%, and that's a big reason why just basically everything in the markets did well. If you own a stock that did not do well yesterday, well, that is a big problem, because even look at the dollar. The dollar has recently dropped big time, and that is going to be good news for Tesla. As you know, Tesla does a lot of business in foreign currencies, like, right, European currencies, Chinese currencies, South Asian region, right? They have a bunch of different currencies. They do a lot of business in foreign currencies. When your dollar is strong, you've taken those foreign currencies, convert that back to a strong dollar, you get less dollars. So the lower the dollar, the more bullish or better maybe earnings will be for your multinational companies, in which Tesla is a multinational company. Gold is slightly down today, and I would say that is also good news. Although gold has been trending higher recently, it really makes you wonder why, because things look a lot better now than they did before, but gold is, still doing well ever since the Middle East crisis started. Gold is up about $15 or so, a little bit over $15 since that all came about. Let's take a look at Tesla on the charts. First things first, the RSI is at 60.03. So overbought is over 70. So Tesla has some room here to make its way higher before you technically hit 70 and get overbought. Although 70 is where a lot of the time you will start to get rejected. Not every time. And I think this time could be a little bit different because of the drop in bond yields we have seen recently, the super low expectations for Tesla stock in 2024. A lot of people have to reconsider their expectations for Tesla. And if Tesla comes in and beats earnings numbers, well, yeah, Tesla could be trading a lot cheaper today than a lot of people even realize. So there's a lot of reasons why Tesla stock is likely going higher from here. Point in being, it started at a very low place. So even consider shorts, trying to get out of short positions before we head into 2024. And I think you're set up in an interesting spot for Tesla specifically. And Tesla is one of the biggest outperformers today, currently at $243.09, up 2.4% here on the day. You're also breaking above your 50-day moving average, at least at the time of recording this video, at $240.69 per share. It's possible you trade sideways here, though. That is a possibility that would actually be encouraged to allow the RSI to reset and to fall a little bit, into the 50s, maybe like 55. That would be good news before you make that next leg higher. As I've said before, if you break above 250, you're in no man's land. At that point, you break above this long-term downtrending line of resistance, and you could get squeezy quickly. Right? Anything above 250, you could pretty easily head to about $300 or higher, in my personal opinion. Keep in mind, I am not a financial advisor. I am not a financial planner. I am not related to you, at least that I know of. So you should not take this as financial advice. Contact a financial advisor if you are curious or have questions or want to validify or validate anything I'm saying, although they probably are not big fans of Tesla to begin with, so they're probably not going to agree with what is in this video. A lot of financial advisors are just not wanting to go down the riskier path, when although not traveling the riskier path is ultimately a lot riskier than traveling that risky path to begin with. Nonetheless, that is going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. My name is Michael Tyler, and I will see you in the next one.